Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on my hibiscus and my natal plum. My hibiscus has 3 flowers out at the moment, and they're just beautiful flowers. Wow. And there's many more on the way. Flowers really zap the energy out of the tree. I've had a lot of leaves fall off. It's kind of putting all the energy into producing flowers. So today I'm going to prune off all the flowers. It's been flowering for like weeks. So I've had my share of flowers off of it. It's time to prune it back to size. It takes up a lot of space in the plant room, this one, because it's a very spreading canopy. And same with my natal plum down here. There's just 2 trees in this pot, and they're not that thick a trunk, but they take up a lot of space in the plant room. So I'm going to reduce these back also. I counted, there's still 7 flowers to go on this hibiscus, so today I've got to prune it back. I'm going to begin by just pruning off the flowers. After that, I'll get to the branches. Oh, look how beautiful this is. There's a little bit of white fly I see on this plant, so it'll be a good idea to remove all the leaves when I cut it back and spray it with soap and water to get rid of that white fly. Otherwise it just spreads to your other trees. I've removed all the flowers and the flower buds from the tree now, so now let's reduce the branches back in size. My main goal is to get taper and movement to the branches and ramification. So you can see a lot of these branches, like this one out here, is just kind of straight. It's grown from here right to the tip, and there's been no pruning since then. So a lot of these branches, like here's one that's grown from here all the way to here. So I'm going to bring everything back, and I may do some hard pruning. You can see some of these branches, this diameter here on the branch is the same diameter as out here. So it's got a bit of movement, but it doesn't have any taper. So I might hard prune that back. Yeah, so I'm just having a look at the tree, checking out the branch structure, deciding where I'm going to prune. Let's have a look at the front, and I'll decide how wide I want the canopy. So here's a look at the tree from the front. So I've got, these are the primary branches, and they come out. And then I've got secondary branches forming, and I don't really have a lot of tertiary branches. That'll be the next stage for this tree. So, I've always kept it a fairly wide spreading canopy. You can see, some of these branches are quite long without a lot of taper to them. It is possible I could hard prune them back, but I don't think I need to. I think I want to keep, a fairly large spreading canopy on this. I don't want it tall, but I do want it fairly spreading. So I think it's just a matter of a lot of these branches just reducing this new growth back, and if there's back buds, maybe even further. So I'm going to begin. I'm going to start with this branch right here. Here's that branch here. So it comes out from the primary branch. I have a shoot on the inside here. I have a shoot on the outside here. I have a little shoot here. So I could definitely prune it back to there, or I could even go shorter, because this section is very, very straight. So yeah, I could easily prune it back to there. To shorten it even more, I could go back to here, like that. Then I've got a bud here and a bud here. Or if I wanted to even shorten it more, I could go back to that bud on the inside. Now, it's always risky kind of going back to one bud and not having much of a backup. So I think I'm going to stop here, keeping this bud on the outside and the one on the inside. Now the branch behind it, it comes out from the primary branch. It's fairly straight again. I have a shoot here, and then the branch comes out, divides to two, divides again, so it's getting some ramification. There's a bud here, and there's a bud on the inside. So I'm going to shorten this one right back to here. And I'm leaving a stub. So I'm going to prune this one now, the one behind here. So this is a stump. I'll get rid of that. This is another stump from last time I pruned it. So I've got a shoot here, and a shoot here. So 3 shoots on the end of that branch. Now, this comes out. This part of this branch is a continuation of here. It just keeps going straight from the base of that branch right out to here. I do have a branch either side, so I could prune out the middle section, and I would get movement then. It would look much better. So that's what I'll do. So I'll need my branch pruners for that. Okay, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to prune it right here. So here I go. Taking that whole branch tip off. Now it's kind of an ugly looking wound here. I've got to clean that up. I'm going to take the bottom part off like that. That helps. And I'm just going to clean it up a bit here. Yeah, I think that's good. So now you can see that branch comes up, divides into 2. Now I could prune this back also. I do have a shoot on the inside here. It's not all that long, but I could even take it right back to that one shoot. That'd certainly make it more compact. This branch has been pruned in the past. I'm looking if there's any buds. There is a bud on the bottom here. I'm just going to take off the tip of this branch. Right to here. Like that. Something should grow out of this area then. And I'll just clean up these stubs here. Like that. Just make that branch a little cleaner. So that's got this branch cleaned up now, shortened. It's looking quite nice. Off of this primary branch, there's another branch here. It comes out. I've got a branch leader here, a branch leader here. So I could again take out that middle one. And let me look from the front and see if I would need to do that. So here's a look. So this is the branch I'm talking about here. So it is getting very high. If I were to prune it off there, it would look much better. It's much more compact, keeps the flowing lines. I think it'd be a good choice to prune that upper part off. All right, so I've made my decision. So off it goes. So I'm coming in here and pruning it off. Just like that. I think the next branch I tackle will be the one on the right-hand side here. So this branch comes up from the trunk. It divides into 2 here. There's a fairly long straight section here. There's a bud here. I think if you can see from this view, you can see these 2 branches kind of run parallel. It might be wiser. There's another bud here. It might be wiser to take that one back, develop it out this direction so it's not so close to this branch. I would lose, my ramification out here would be then transferred back to here. It'd definitely get the tree more compact. Now I think that's what it needs. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the tip off this branch. So here I go. So I'm going to take it off right. Right here. Get in there. Give a bit of a stub for dieback, and here I go. So there. That branch is taken off. definitely make the tree more compact. So you can still see how these converge here. So, yeah, I don't know. I could take this leg off here. I'm still kind of stuck with these parallel branches. I think maybe instead of taking it back to these 2 buds, maybe I should just take it back to the 1. So I shorten it a bit more, like that. I think that's better. Now let's follow that branch so it comes up. I've got a branch here, one here. I've got one down out the bottom here. And I have several branches at the tip here. I've got like the 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to pick my best branches, and what are they? I think I have to look in the front view. I'm looking in the front view at that branch now. The hanging branch is kind of nice, actually. It kind of, instead of everything sweeping upwards, it's kind of the first of the kind of horizontal or hanging branches. I think I've got to go with that and definitely remove the upright one off of it. So I think that hanging branch is going to be the new branch leader. I think that'll look very nice. All right, so if that's my new branch leader, a lot of the other stuff has to come off. So on this branch, I had 4 branches coming from the tip. I'm reducing it to 1. So I'll be losing some ramification, but I'll be gaining some good taper and movement, and the branch will have a nice leader with a good direction. So here I go. I'm going to do it. I am coming in, and maybe I'll come in from the top here and take that off. So it's a big cut here. So here I go. Like that. Taking that whole branch off the top. So I think that'll look quite nice in the future. So this branch now has a branch to the back, the front, and a leader. So let's go to this branch at the back now. This one, it comes out and divides into like a Y shape and then runs parallel. So this was the one that was kind of converging with this other branch here. So if I can shorten that, I will. I've got a leader here, which is a little strange. But maybe not. From the front view, it looks all right. And I think I'll do that. I'm going to take it right back to this upright leader, and then, I'll get it going horizontal again. So it'll have a bit of a kink in the branch, which should look quite nice in the end. So here I go. I'm taking this off here. Like that. So the rest of that branch, you can see it kind of zigzags up and then it starts going vertical here. So it needs to be brought back. So I need to shorten that branch. And I'm looking for places where I can shorten that. I have some buds in here. I got a bud here, a bud here. So I could definitely shorten it back to here, which might still be too long. I've kind of got a straight section here. I have got a bud here, so that would be a good one. I think that's where I'm going back to. Right back to here. Like that. Now this is a stub I can remove here. Gets that branch flowing a little nicer. So that cleans up this whole branch back here. So the next branch is the one coming out front, sort of my apex, or my branch that flows from the trunk line up. So let's look at that in the front view. Here's the front view now. So I do like the one coming out front here. That looks nice and flowing. This one is kind of parallel to the branch behind it there. So maybe something could be done with that. A lot of possibilities in this branch structure here. So I'm having a good look at this branch structure. So I definitely like the leader up here. This one coming forward. There's one kind of coming back in on the tree here that could be removed. I could take this one off here, shorten this. I could remove that whole piece there. Don't know if I want to do that. I'm going to start by cleaning this branch up and then decide if I want to keep it. So let me do that first. And when I mean clean it up, I'm going to reduce it. So I'm taking it back here. I'll come in like this. So here I go, cutting that back. So again, I have a taper, change of taper there. I'm going to nick the tip off this one, shorten that a bit. And then I got this one that bends back inwards, which is a little bizarre looking. I mean, I could keep it and then develop a branch kind of coming out here so it zigzags. But I still have this branch parallel to this one, which is a little distracting. It could be taken right off. Like right off to here. I'm just seeing if there's any other solutions to this problem of these parallel branches. You know, it doesn't look so parallel when I rotate it to a different front. I'm just worried that if I got rid of that, then I've got my branches here that are flat, and then all this kind of sticks up with not much else. I could reduce this back one back quite a bit. Take that off, and then I'm kind of left with a trunk line that doesn't have any branching much. I think it's best to keep this actually. Maybe shorten it more. I've got some buds underneath here. I can shorten this back to here. And then this branch, I'm going to develop it as a zigzag branch. So I'm going to take off the part that kind of grows behind here. Like that. And I'll shorten this one. Like that. So it grows out this direction. I think that'll look good. And then that back branch here, I definitely have to shorten that. It's sticking way, way high. Do I want to shorten it back to there is the question. Back to here. Probably, I think so. Okay, I'm going to do quite a reduction. There's a bud here, so I'm going to reduce this branch back. So, here I go. Like that. So all that remains now is to reduce this one shooting upwards here. So I'm looking at it. I've got a nice division here. I'm not so keen on the branch coming out front there. Yes, in fact, I'm going to get rid of that one. I don't like it at all. I do like the other one. And then I've got a shoot behind here. That'll be the leader here, so I'm going to take this back to here. Like that. That should be it. I'm going to have a look from the front now. Here's a look at the tree now. There's a couple of things I don't like. I think this hanging branch here is a little long. I could reduce that back. Although, if I leave it long, it'll thicken up and blend in a little better. So maybe I should leave that. The one on the left-hand side here looks a bit long and straight and thick. You know, it's pretty thick out to here. So I think I need to cut it back. Now, I could take off the back leg of it here. I'll show you that from a different view. Here's a look at that branch. So it comes from here, has some movement, but not much taper up to here, and then it kind of tapers. I could take that off to there, getting rid of this back branch. I don't like to do that because, you know, it's good ramification here. I've got branches here too. You know, I could cut it right back if I wanted, which would probably be the best thing for the tree. I think I've just left this, like it's too thick, too far away from the trunk, and it's this thickness. It should taper. So maybe back to here is the best thing. I think so. It's a bit of a big cut. It'll leave quite a scar. It's a big cut. Could I go here? No, it's just too straight. All right, I've got to do it for the future of the tree. I'm sure 5 years from now I'll be so happy I did that. And until then, there'll be a bit of a scar. So here I go. I'm taking the whole end of this branch off, which is, you know, a big, big cut. All right, big cut coming up. Here I go. Oh, wowzer. Yep. Looks better though, I think. Now I'm going to just take the back part of this branch off, just so this cut heals a bit better. So like that. Should flow a little nicer. Okay, and I was a little concerned about the length of this branch, but I think I'll leave that one. Let me have another look at it, and then I've still got to prune this lower branch here too. Here's a look at the tree. Yeah, I like that a lot better with that, you know, that left-hand branch shortened here. I think it really, once that you know, new shoots come out from that branch, I think it's going to look really good having that taper. It's got taper movement. It'll look really good. I'm wondering if I should do the same for this branch. That one kind of, you know, I've got a leader coming out here. If I took it off here, I would have better taper on that branch. Because it kind of stands out as being a little long now without much taper. I think I've got to do that. All right, here I go. Another big cut. All right, big cut coming up. Done, just like that. Okay, let me have a look at this now. Okay, yeah, I think that's much nicer. It makes the trunk line stand out more. Before, those spreading branches were kind of dominating the tree. It looks much more mature, more compact. I think it, once, you know, it all shoots out up top, I think it's going to look really, really good. So now I've got to tackle that low branch down there. Many times I've thought of taking it off, and I've always kept it. And I think it's a nice branch. I'm just having a final look at it. I've got a bit of moss growing up the trunk. I want to get rid of that. Clean up the base of the tree. And I have a root spread in here that I want to expose. It's kind of covered it up with moss. So I'll have to pick the moss away from the roots here. And I do want to repot this tree. I don't think it needs a bigger pot, but I think maybe a different style of pot would suit it better. The trunk of this tree is kind of a light beige color, almost whitish in some light. So I think it needs maybe a glaze on the pot or something. I'm going to think about that. You know, when I go to repot it, I'll try a variety of pots out with it and see what looks good. And it does need repotting because it's starting to lift out of the pot a bit. So what I'll do is I'll let it recover, growing in its branches over the winter, build up its stores of energy, and then probably early summer will be the time to repot it. You can see the root base down there. It's fairly interesting. I've been working on it for quite a few years. So here's a look at the amount I took off today. Some fairly beefy branches. Yeah. All right, time to water the tree. I'll give it a good soaking out here. Let's fly in now and have a look at the hibiscus all pruned up. The next trees I'll be working on are my Natal plums. These started out life as cuttings. I got them from Hong, and they're quite old now. I would say they're at least 10 years old. Here's a look at the Natal plums. So they take up a lot of area, and if we come down here, the trunks aren't very thick on them. They're fairly small trees, so they need to be brought back to size, make them more compact. So let's get pruning. All right, here I go. So this trunk line comes up. I've got a branch. It divides here. Let me just remove this leaf. It divides. There's a Y shape here, and then there's another one coming out front. The branch here has a really good flow line. I don't like, if I got rid of this one doesn't flow very well with the other one. I could reduce it to a single trunk there instead of having it divide down low like this. That's pretty early to be dividing your trunk. You've only got a short stubby trunk before it starts branching. So maybe, reducing the tree back to a single leader is a good thing, would be a good thing. There's nothing kind of sticking up vertically. This one's not bad back here. Yeah, it's kind of a funny looking thing. Well, this back branch is the closest thing I have to a vertical trunk line, so I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to remove all the others. Because I think it's just too small. Like, if I had it dividing there, the tree could only be a very small tree, which is all right, but I think I'd rather it be a little taller. So I'm going to take off this new shoot here, this skinny little one. There. Now you can see the branches a bit better. Okay, so I decided to keep this as the trunk line and remove the others. I think that's a good move. Here I go. Because none of them are very vertical. They're all kind of sprawling branches. So that one comes off. There's the Y shape. And then I'm going to take that part off here. I'll rough cut it first. So here I go. Taking that whole top off. And then I'll clean that cut up. So I'll come in here and clean it up on the angle like that. I think that'll be quite good. Like that. And then I'm coming up with my trunk line. I'm dividing here, which isn't too bad. I've got a little branch down lower. If I'm looking for taper, I would utilize the thin one. And I think I will. So I'm going to take off this thick branch up top here. Like that. So I've got a trunk line now. I'm going to leave this on for now, but it'll come off in the future. So I think that's got the one tree pruned up. Sure is a lot more compact than the other one. So let's do the same for the other one. Let's get it pruned up. Now this one, the trunk line's a little higher, so it's not too bad. I've got to come in here and get a look at it. So it's kind of awkward looking. It comes up and it comes up and it divides into 4 here. There's 2 on this side and 2 on this side. And nothing up top. So quite strange looking. So again, I think I've got to pick a nice trunk line and go with that. So my most vertical one is this one here. So I think I'll keep that as the trunk line and remove everything else. Big cuts. Here I go. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to remove this lower branch first. That's off. Then I'm going to remove the one off here. This is attached to my trunk line. Like that. And then I want to remove these 2 trunk lines here. So I'll take this one off first. Like that. I'll rough cut this one off. Like that. And then I've got to take that off. Trying to get a nice cut here. Here I go. Like that. And then I don't want this branch here, so I'll take that away. And I've got to clean this cut up a bit better. That's pretty good. There's a stub here I can remove. Another one down lower. Okay, so that's got a bit of a trunk line happening. So I'm coming up, I divide here. And again, I want to get taper. So this would be a nice leader, or this one. I think I'm going to keep this as the leader, the higher up one. And I'll explain my reason. Let me just prune this off here first. And I'll clean that cut up. That's better. The reason I wanted this as the leader is I've got a straight section down here that's this long, and then I've got a straight section here and it's shorter. If I went, this straight section and then here, it's getting maybe a little too twisty looking for. I've got to match the style of the straight section. So straight section, shorter straight section, shorter straight section, and so on. So that's my plan. I just think it would be, this straight section here would be too short if I pruned it off here. So it would make this long section stand out more. That's my thinking behind that. I'm going to take this one off here without any leaves. And there's 2 buds each side that should grow. So I think that's it. This thing used to be very sprawling, and it's down to kind of 2 trunk lines now. And they're nice looking trunk lines. So the next step for these trees would be just to let them grow wild again for maybe many years, and then go at it again. These trees could also use a water, so I'm going to give them a good watering out here in the greenhouse. Like that, just let that soak in. While that water is soaking in, I'll show you what I took off of these Natal plums. So really Some big branches. Now these would make excellent cuttings. Like, they're thick, woody. But I just don't have the room. I just can't do it. So I've got to compost them. Let's fly in now and look at the Natal plums. I don't know if these have been on the channel before. If they haven't been on the channel before, I'll start a playlist for them so you can follow the progression into the future. And I have no idea where the fronts will be for these yet, but they're just kind of reduced down to a trunk line. I have had these flower, and the flowers smell heavenly. They're like a citrus flower. They're very, very fragrant, little white flowers, and they do get plums on them. You can get a red plum, and you can use the plums for making jam. It's hard to get the fruit to ripen here in Ontario because the growing season is so short, but I have seen plums develop. Quite a severe reduction for both my hibiscus and my Natal plums today. They'll certainly take up less space on the benches, and I think the overall form of the trees is improved. That is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.